Chosen one, anchor your spirit to every word I'm about to speak. That exhaustion you've been carrying, the one that sleep hasn't touched, do not dismiss it. The enemy has been working overtime this week for one reason and one reason only. He sees the shift that is coming, and he knows he cannot stop it. It all changes now. The fog, the heaviness, the confusion that has made even simple decisions feel impossible. But here is what you need to understand. It is not ending in spite of what you have been going through. It is ending because of it. Think back to this week, to that moment when you had nothing left to give and you gave it anyway. When you showed up exhausted, when you pressed forward with trembling hands, when you chose faith over the feeling that everything was falling apart. You did not know it then, but that moment was not weakness. That was the turning point. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. God did. This is a divine appointment, scheduled before the foundations of the earth were laid. You are standing at the edge of something you have been waiting for longer than you can remember. Stay until the very last word, because in the next few minutes, I am going to reveal the spiritual truth behind the physical symptoms your body has been sending you. I am going to walk you through what this specific kind of exhaustion actually means in the spirit and what heaven is signaling through it. And at the end, I am going to give you a declaration that seals this shift and commands your body, your mind, and your spirit into alignment with what God has already released. Do not click away. The version of you that has been praying for a sign, this is it. If you leave now, you leave before the verdict is read. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. It has not been ordinary tiredness. This is something deeper. Something that lives beneath the surface of your body and does not respond to rest. You can sleep 8 hours and wake up feeling like you never closed your eyes. Maybe you have been moving through your days this week, feeling like you are walking through water, every step requiring twice the effort it should. Or maybe you sat down in the middle of something completely ordinary and felt a wave of heaviness wash over you so suddenly that it frightened you. Or perhaps it has been the weight behind your eyes, the pressure in your chest, the strange sense that your body is processing something your mind cannot yet name. You feel suspended, like you are between two worlds, like the life you knew is behind you, and the life you were promised has not yet come into view. And in that in-between space, the enemy has started whispering a very specific lie. He is telling you that something is wrong with you. He is replaying every recent moment where you had no energy, no motivation, no fire, and he is labeling them as failure. He is telling you that your exhaustion is proof that you have lost your way, that your body breaking down is a sign that God has moved on, that the heaviness is punishment, that the silence is abandonment. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." Listen to that word carefully. The renewal comes after the waiting. And waiting is not passive. In the spirit, waiting is one of the most violent acts of faith a person can commit. It means your flesh is crying for answers, and you are choosing to trust a God you cannot see. That is not weakness. That is warfare. The exhaustion you feel is not the absence of God's presence. It is the evidence of it. When the Spirit of God moves into a new dimension of your life, your physical body registers the weight of that transition. Your nervous system, your cells, your very breath. They feel the gravity of what heaven is restructuring around you. You are not falling apart. You are being reconstructed. The heaviness is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the holy pressure of a life being realigned at a level so deep that your body feels it before your mind can understand it. You did not misread the season. You did not miss your moment. You are not too tired to be chosen. You are exhausted because you are in the middle of the most significant spiritual shift of your life, and your body is the first thing that knows it. That is not a sign of weakness. That is a sign that something massive is already in motion. Some messages don't just inform, they activate. If something stirred deep in your spirit just now, you may be ready to receive the Chosen One's blueprint. This sacred guide reveals the 8 divine patterns behind your calling, your suffering, and your destiny. It also comes with the full audiobook, so you can absorb it during prayer, rest, or quiet moments with God. And for those called to speak His truth, you'll also receive Activating Your Prophet Mantle, a powerful bonus ebook for those carrying a prophetic assignment. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Now let's go deeper, because what I just told you about your body registering the shift before your mind can name it, that is only the surface of what is happening. There is a layer beneath that truth that most people never reach, and it is the layer where the real breakthrough lives. Your exhaustion has been speaking a language you were not given the translation for. Until now. Your body, a divinely fashioned antenna, is a sacred vessel that often picks up spiritual frequencies and subtle energetic shifts long before your logical mind can process, categorize, or even consciously name them. While the surface manifestation might be a fleeting sensation or an inexplicable weariness, the profound truth lies in the unseen layer beneath, a realm where the spirit communicates directly through physical and emotional signals. Your current exhaustion, this deep weariness that settles into your bones, is not merely physical fatigue. It is a profound spiritual signal, a coded message from your deepest self, and indeed, from the divine. It's like a critical warning light on the dashboard of your soul, illuminated not for distress, but for urgent redirection. This silent, often misunderstood language, commonly interpreted as weakness or failure, is in reality a divine signpost, a profound spiritual compass pointing you toward a necessary and pivotal shift. It's the quiet cry of a soul longing for realignment, a desperate plea for the divine download and spiritual recalibration that has perhaps been postponed, ignored, or simply unrecognized amidst the clamor of daily life. Think about Elijah, a man who had just called fire down from heaven, a man who had outrun a chariot in the power of God, a man who had stood in the middle of impossibility and watched the Most High show up in ways that defied every natural law. And then, after all of that, he collapsed under a juniper tree and asked God to let him die. He said, "It is enough. I am done. Take my life. I have no more to give." Imagine the sheer raw magnitude of Elijah's recent triumphs. He wasn't merely a prophet. He was a living, breathing testament to unbridled divine power. Envision the spectacle of fire descending from the heavens, consuming the water-drenched sacrifice, the wood, the very stones, and even the dust in the trenches, unequivocally proving Yahweh's supremacy over the false god Baal. Picture the surging adrenaline, the absolute conviction, the almost superhuman endurance required to outpace Ahab's chariot for miles, propelled by the tangible hand of the Lord. He had stood alone against 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah on Mount Carmel, a solitary figure confronting a tidal wave of idolatry, yet unwavering in his faith. He had moved spiritual mountains of resistance, shattering strongholds with a single prayer. But even after such monumental victories, after witnessing the miraculous unfold before his very eyes, after operating in a dimension of faith that few ever touch, the relentless weight of the spiritual warfare and the profound human cost of carrying such a weighty anointing brought him to his absolute breaking point. It wasn't the enemy's direct assault that felled him in that moment, but the inherent human vulnerability that inevitably follows immense spiritual exertion. Under that solitary juniper tree, far from the roaring crowds and the dazzling glory, He wasn't just physically exhausted, his spirit was utterly depleted, a sacred vessel emptied by the overwhelming demands of his divine assignment. His raw cry, "It is enough, I am done, take my life, I have no more to give," was not a petulant outburst. It was the guttural honesty of a soul pushed beyond its human limits, a poignant echo of utter spiritual, emotional, and physical bankruptcy. Now, most people read that story and see a man in crisis. But what the scripture reveals in the verses that follow is something entirely different. God did not rebuke Elijah. God did not say, "Get up and keep fighting." God did not deliver a sermon about faith or remind him of all the miracles he had just performed. What did God do? He sent an angel to touch him and say, "Arise and eat. The journey is too great for you." Most human responses to such a desperate plea might involve judgment, exasperation, or a motivational lecture designed to snap him out of it. We might expect God to say, "What about your faith, Elijah? Remember Carmel, remember the chariot, get back in the fight." But God's divine wisdom transcends our limited human understanding. He did not engage in theological debate or remind Elijah of his past heroic deeds. He did not demand more strength, more sacrifice, or more performance. Instead, with profound compassion and understanding, he met Elijah precisely where he was, in his utter brokenness, despair, and exhaustion. The divine response was not a reprimand, but a tender touch. An angel, a direct messenger of grace, ministered to him, not with a scroll of commandments or a lecture on perseverance, but with simple, sustaining nourishment. "Arise and eat," he commanded, and then offered the profound, almost whispered revelation that would change everything. "The journey is too great for you." This was not a criticism of Elijah's capability, but a loving, powerful acknowledgement of the superhuman demands of his calling, a statement that recognized the inherent limits of human flesh and spirit, even when empowered by the divine. It was an affirmation of his immense burden, not an indictment of his perceived failure. That phrase, "The journey is too great for you," is not an accusation. It is a revelation. It means the distance you are being asked to cover cannot be crossed on your own strength. It means what God is calling you toward is so far beyond your current capacity that trying to get there in your own power will always end in collapse. The exhaustion is not evidence that you failed. The exhaustion is evidence that you attempted something that required more than human strength to complete. This phrase, "The journey is too great for you," serves as a spiritual Rosetta Stone, translating the cryptic language of your profound fatigue. It unravels the mystery of why, despite your deepest desires, your unwavering commitment, and your most fervent efforts, you still find yourself utterly drained, perhaps even despairing. It liberates you from the insidious, soul-crushing belief that your weariness is a moral failing, a spiritual deficit, or a sign of your inadequacy. Instead, it unveils a liberating and profound truth. Your divine assignment, your destiny, the very path God has meticulously laid out for you, is inherently designed to exceed your natural human capabilities. It's a divine paradox, a calling so grand, so expansive, that it must necessitate an absolute radical reliance on something far greater than your own willpower, grit, intellect, or personal strength. It means that the spiritual mileage you're meant to cover, the vast territory you are destined to occupy, requires celestial fuel, not just earthly energy. The exhaustion you feel isn't a sign that you took a wrong turn, but rather that you've been walking a path that inherently demands divine intervention, divine strength, and an intimate divine partnership. It's an indicator that you are precisely where you need to be for a deeper revelation of God's power to manifest through your weakness, rather than merely despite it. It's the divine blueprint revealing that the chasm between your current state and your promised land is bridged not by your Herculean effort, but by his omnipresent, all-sufficient grace. Your fatigue, therefore, becomes a sacred signal, a divine red flag waving not to stop, but to shift your source of strength, to plug into an inexhaustible, supernatural supply. And here is where it goes deeper. Elijah rested. He ate. He was touched by the divine. And then he rose and traveled 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mountain of God, the place where Moses had encountered the burning bush, the place where the law was given, the place where heaven and earth pressed so close together that the ground itself was holy. The profound narrative of Elijah doesn't conclude under the shadow of the juniper tree, steeped in despair. His collapse was not the final destination of his prophetic journey, but rather a crucial, divinely ordained waypoint on a sacred pilgrimage. After receiving that angelic ministration, the simple yet profound acts of restorative rest, physical nourishment, and the tender, healing touch of the divine, Elijah was supernaturally sustained. For 40 days and 40 nights, a duration echoing other profound wilderness journeys in biblical scripture, he journeyed not aimlessly, but with a clear divine destination: Horeb, the mountain of God. This was no ordinary peak. It was a sacred summit, drenched in ancient history and countless divine encounters. It was the very hallowed ground where Moses, another towering prophet, had first encountered the burning bush, hearing the transformative voice of Yahweh from the heart of an unconsumed fire. It was the majestic mountain where the very law of God was etched in stone, where a solemn covenant was forged between the Creator and his chosen people. Horeb, also revered as Mount Sinai, was a place where the veil between the temporal and the eternal was incredibly thin, where the very atmosphere crackled with the tangible presence of the Most High, rendering the ground beneath their feet holy, hallowed by myriad divine visitations. It was a destination chosen precisely by God, not by Elijah's own navigational skills, a sanctuary meticulously designed for profound spiritual communion, a place of deep encounter, far more than just a place of mere physical recovery. Your exhaustion is pointing you toward Horeb. It is not pointing you toward the end. It is pointing you toward the place where God speaks in a still, small voice, rather than fire and earthquake and wind. Because what you need now is not more power. What you need is more presence. And presence is only received in stillness, in surrender, in the quiet that most people are too afraid to sit in. Understand this deeply. Allow this truth to penetrate the very core of your being. Your current state of profound exhaustion, this pervasive weariness that permeates your bones and spirit, is not a death knell for your destiny. It is not an indicator that your prophetic journey is over or that you've irrevocably failed. On the contrary, it is a divinely orchestrated compass needle, pointing you steadfastly toward your Horeb, your mountain of intimate encounter. It is a sacred summons to a different kind of divine experience, one tailored precisely for this season of your life. While Elijah had previously witnessed the spectacular, awe-inspiring power of God in consuming fire, had felt the earth tremble beneath his feet, and had been exposed to the mighty wind that tore mountains, at Horeb, God didn't appear in the mighty tempest, the cataclysmic earthquake, or the blazing, consuming fire. Instead, after all these dramatic displays of raw power, God met Elijah in a still small voice, a gentle whisper, a profound and sacred silence. 1 Kings 19:11-12. This is a pivotal, life-altering lesson for you. What your soul truly craves, what your spirit desperately needs in this season, is not a greater influx of raw, unbridled power to push harder, fight more fiercely, or strive with more intensity. You've already proven your capacity for that. What you profoundly need is more presence. The intimate, sustaining, life-giving, all-encompassing presence of God Himself. And this profound presence, This deeper communion that nourishes your deepest being is not found in the clamor of incessant activity, the roar of spiritual battle, or the unending demands of ministry. It is discovered, nurtured, and fully received only in the sacred crucible of stillness, in the radical, vulnerable act of surrender, and in the profound, sometimes intimidating quietude that the restless human spirit often fears and actively avoids. It's in this deep silence, this intentional stripping away of external noise and internal chatter, that the divine frequency becomes distinctly audible, transforming mere existence into a profound and lasting spiritual experience. But let me challenge you with something, because this is where the message gets uncomfortable. Most people who are spiritually exhausted are not tired because they have been doing too much for God. They are tired because they have been doing too much without God. There is a difference, and it is a difference that changes everything. You have been running on assignment without returning to the source. You have been giving out what you have not been going in to receive. You have been operating at a level of output that your intake could never sustain, and now your body is presenting the invoice. Now let's peel back another layer, because this next truth often strikes at the core of our spiritual conditioning and can feel deeply uncomfortable, perhaps even confrontational. Many who find themselves in the grip of profound spiritual exhaustion mistakenly believe they are victims of overzealous service, having simply poured out too much for God, sacrificing their well-being on the altar of divine duty. They often wear their burnout as a badge of honor, a testament to their unwavering dedication and selflessness. But the stark, liberating truth is this: the deep-seated weariness that permeates your soul and body often stems not from doing too much for God, but from doing too much without God. There is a vast, often unrecognized chasm of difference between these two states, and recognizing it is the absolute key to unlocking a fundamentally different, sustainable, and powerful way of living and serving. Imagine a mighty river that seeks to irrigate vast, thirsty fields, providing life and sustenance to all it touches. But what if, unknowingly, this powerful river somehow became disconnected from its mountain spring, its ultimate source? It would continue to flow for a time, nourished by residual waters and inertia, but eventually its currents would weaken, its banks would dry, and its life-giving flow would diminish to a mere trickle, eventually ceasing altogether. This vividly illustrates the state of your spirit when you operate without consistent, deep, and intentional connection to the source of all life. You have been running on spiritual fumes, propelled by a profound sense of duty, an unwavering obligation, or even a fervent burning desire to serve, but without regular intentional returns to the inexhaustible wellspring of divine energy. You have been an open faucet, continuously pouring out your spiritual reserves, expending your most precious inner resources without adequately and consistently refilling your inner cistern. The ratio of your spiritual output to your spiritual intake has become dangerously unbalanced, creating an unsustainable spiritual economy. It's akin to attempting to run a high-performance engine on an empty tank, pushing it far beyond its designed limits until it inevitably breaks down. And just as a physical body cannot sustain perpetual exertion without proper rest and profound nourishment, your spiritual body, your very soul, cannot endure endless giving without profound and consistent receiving. The exhaustion you feel is not a sign of weakness. It is the inevitable consequence of an unsustainable equation, a spiritual law of diminishing returns that has finally reached its breaking point. Your body, the wise and honest keeper of your soul's score, is now presenting the overdue invoice, demanding payment in the form of stillness, recalibration, and urgent reconnection to your divine power source. This is not condemnation. This is an invitation. Let this truth penetrate not as a heavy judgment, a critical voice, or a harsh accusation, but as a freeing, profound invitation. It is not a finger pointed in condemnation, highlighting your perceived failures, but rather an outstretched hand, gently guiding you to a path of profound restoration, sustainable power, and enduring spiritual vitality. It is an invitation to release the burden of self-reliance and embrace the boundless grace of divine partnership. What most people don't realize is that God is not demanding more from you in this season. He is demanding less. He is not asking for more effort. He is asking for more access. He is not looking for more performance. He is looking for more intimacy. And the exhaustion you have been carrying is actually His way of dismantling the systems you built to avoid that level of surrender. The profound paradox of this particular season is that in your state of overwhelming fatigue, deep weariness, and perhaps even despair, God is not calling you to greater striving, to heavier burdens, or to more intense effort, but rather to a deeper, more profound ease. He is not increasing His demands upon you. Instead, He is strategically reducing them, reorienting His focus from your external output to your internal connection. It's not more effort He seeks from you, but more access, a wider, more unguarded, more vulnerable entry into the sacred chambers of your heart, your mind, and your very soul. He isn't looking for enhanced performance, for a more impressive display of spiritual prowess, or for a more polished presentation of your faith. He is yearning for more intimacy, a profound, unhurried, and deeply personal communion with the very core of your being. This radical shift in divine expectation is utterly transformative, liberating you from the exhausting cycle of earning and proving. Consider your current exhaustion not as a punitive measure, a form of divine punishment for your perceived shortcomings, but as a divine tool, a sacred wrecking ball in the hand of the master architect. It is, in fact, His strategic and compassionate way of gently but persistently dismantling the elaborate, often unconscious, systems and structures you've painstakingly built to protect yourself from the vulnerable depths of true surrender and authentic intimacy. These intricate systems often manifest as relentless busyness, an endless cycle of doing, a frantic pursuit of productivity, and a compulsive need to keep moving, all of which serve as ingenious forms of spiritual and emotional armor. As long as you are constantly in motion, achieving, serving, striving, performing, proving your worth, you could cleverly sidestep the terrifying prospect of sitting in profound silence, where the protective layers would inevitably fall away, exposing the tender, unhealed, and sometimes broken parts of you to the penetrating, all-knowing and all-loving gaze of God. Your perpetual activity became a fortress against true intimacy, a formidable shield against the very vulnerability that authentic connection and deep surrender demand. But the body, in its divine wisdom and unwavering honesty, keeps a meticulous score of every neglected need, every unacknowledged wound, every moment of self-avoidance. Eventually it reaches its absolute limit, refusing to cooperate further with these intricate avoidance strategies. It stages a quiet, yet undeniable rebellion, forcing upon you the very stillness, the very cessation of activity that your spirit has craved and desperately needed all along. This enforced quietude is not a void to be filled with more noise, but a sacred space opened for profound divine encounter and deep, lasting healing. In just a moment, we'll uncover what that silence is actually trying to reveal. And it's the part of this message that most people have never heard framed this way before. But first, this has to land. The shift that is coming into your life is not coming because you earned it. It is not coming because you finally got it together. It is not coming because you pushed through one more time and proved your worth to heaven. It is coming because God is sovereign, because His word over your life does not expire, And because the appointed time is not determined by your performance, it is determined by His promise. That means the pressure you have been placing on yourself to be ready, to be better, to be more deserving. It has never been the gateway to your breakthrough. It has actually been the thing standing in front of it. Before we dive into the profound revelations waiting in that sacred silence, let this foundational truth settle deep within your spirit, allowing it to anchor itself firmly in your core. The profound life-altering shift that is now unfolding in your reality is not a reward for your relentless striving. It is not the culmination of your tireless efforts to get it together, to perfect your spiritual walk, or to finally measure up to some elusive standard of human worthiness. It is not a trophy for pushing through yet another season of weariness, proving your indefatigable spirit to a demanding heaven. No, this shift is coming, not because you earned it, but because God is sovereign, absolute in His power and authority. His divine word, spoken over your life from the dawn of creation, is not subject to earthly expiry dates, human conditions, or your fluctuating emotional states. His promises are eternal decrees, immutable and unwavering, written into the very fabric of your destiny. The appointed time for your breakthrough, for the magnificent unfolding of your destiny, is never dictated by the fluctuating barometer of your performance. It is solely determined by the steadfast, unfailing power of His promise, a divine guarantee that cannot be revoked. This realization is a radical act of liberation. It means that the immense, often debilitating pressure you have burdened yourself with, the incessant, self-imposed need to be ready, to be better, to be more deserving, to constantly prove your spiritual mettle, has never been the true key to unlocking your breakthrough. In fact, in its desperate, self-reliant striving, this pressure has acted as a formidable barrier, a self-imposed obstacle, standing directly in the path of the divine floodgates. It's akin to trying to force open a door that God Himself has already opened wide, simply by leaning your full weight against it in a desperate attempt to prove you can open it, rather than simply walking through the threshold of His boundless grace. This profound truth disentangles your self-worth from your spiritual output, freeing you from the exhausting, unending cycle of earning what has already been freely given by divine decree. It invites you into a state of grace-filled reception, a place of peace and trust, rather than performance-driven acquisition. This shift demands that you release the white-knuckled grip of control and step into the flowing current of divine timing and provision. Jacob wrestled with the angel of God all night. He refused to let go until he received a blessing. But what most people focus on is the wrestling. What they miss is that by the end of that encounter, Jacob was limping. He walked away marked. He walked away permanently altered in his body. And yet God changed his name from Jacob, the one who grasps and strives, to Israel, the one who prevails with God, not by his own strength, but in relationship with the divine. Consider the timeless, deeply resonant narrative of Jacob at the Jabbok River, a man on the cusp of confronting his tumultuous past and an uncertain future, wrestling through the profound darkness of the night. He encountered not merely a man, but the very angel of God, engaging in an intense, all-night struggle that stretched until the break of dawn. Most observers, when recounting this powerful story, fixate on the sheer tenacity of Jacob, his unwavering refusal to release his grip until he had extracted a blessing from this divine adversary. They marvel at his spiritual grit, his relentless determination, his unyielding will. But in this singular focus, a profound, transformative detail is often tragically overlooked. By the first light of dawn, after the intense, all-consuming grapple, Jacob emerged from that divine encounter with a permanent limp. He was not just weary, he was physically, irrevocably marked. His hip was wrenched, a tangible bodily alteration, a lifelong reminder of that sacred struggle. Yet, it was in this very moment of profound physical weakening, this undeniable sign of human limitation and brokenness, that God fundamentally redefined him. His name was changed from Jacob, which signifies supplanter, or one who grasps and strives, a name steeped in cunning, self-reliance and personal effort, to Israel, meaning one who prevails with God. This renaming wasn't a reward for his sheer physical strength, but a testament to a strength found through weakness, a victory achieved not by his own might, but through an intimate, desperate, and ultimately surrendered relationship with the divine. His new identity was forged in the crucible of wrestling, not in the comfortable absence of it. Your struggle has not been separating you from your new name. Your struggle has been the very thing by which God is renaming you. The limp you carry is not a sign of defeat. It is the evidence that you were present at the place where heaven touched earth, and you refused to leave without your blessing. Apply this profound insight to your own life with piercing clarity. The very struggles you have endured, the arduous battles you fought in the crucible of your spirit, and your challenging circumstances, have not been divinely engineered to separate you from the higher calling, the new name, the elevated identity God intends for you. On the contrary, these struggles have been the precise, intentional instruments through which God is actively renaming you, carving out a new, more powerful reality for your existence. The spiritual limp you may carry, the deep-seated weariness, the visible marks of your past trials and tribulations, these are not badges of defeat, not emblems of your failure, brokenness, or inadequacy. Far from it. They are sacred scar tissue, indelible evidence that you dared to show up for a divine encounter. They are the undeniable proof that you stood firm at the very threshold where heaven pressed against earth, where the natural met the supernatural, and in that holy, hallowed space, you refused to let go until the blessing, your promised inheritance, was irrevocably released into your life. Your limping testifies to a tenacious faith that refused to yield, a spirit that would not be satisfied with anything less than a profound, transformative encounter with the Most High. It's a testament to your courageous participation in a divine rearrangement, where your human fragility becomes the very canvas for God's glorious strength to be perfectly displayed. And this leads us to something most people miss entirely. There are two kinds of spiritual weight. There is the weight of oppression, the kind the enemy places on you to slow you down, confuse your direction, and make you question your identity. And there is the weight of glory, the kind described in 2 Corinthians, the eternal weight of glory that far outweighs all present suffering. These two things can feel almost identical in the body, and if you do not have discernment between them, you will spend your time fighting something you were actually supposed to receive. This next distinction is absolutely critical, often tragically overlooked, and possesses the power to dramatically alter your spiritual trajectory and liberate your understanding. We, as humans, tend to lump all forms of spiritual heaviness into a single, undifferentiated category, often attributing it solely to enemy attack, personal failing, or the burdens of the world. However, there are fundamentally two distinct kinds of spiritual weight, and acutely discerning between them is paramount to your spiritual progress and peace. First, there is the insidious weight of oppression, a burdensome, suffocating heaviness meticulously placed upon you by the adversary, Satan and his forces. This weight is designed with malicious intent to shackle your progress, to disorient your spiritual compass, to sow insidious seeds of doubt about your divine direction, and most insidiously, to make you question the very core of your identity as a beloved, chosen child of God. It aims to cripple your faith, stifle your destiny, and drain your vitality. But then there is the profound, breathtaking, and holy weight of glory. This is the divine gravitas spoken of with such power in 2 Corinthians 4:17, which declares, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." This is not a burden designed to crush you, but a sacred density that elevates, expands, and establishes you in your divine purpose. It is the very essence of God's manifest presence, His anointing, His authority, His divine power settling upon you. The profound challenge, and the reason many miss this crucial insight, is that in the immediate, raw human experience, these two seemingly disparate forms of weight can feel almost uncannily identical in the human spirit and body. Both can manifest as a profound sense of heaviness, a crushing pressure, an inexplicable weariness, or an overwhelming sense of responsibility. Without acute spiritual discernment, without the wisdom and grace to differentiate between the enemy's oppressive tactics and God's glorious impartation, you risk spending precious spiritual energy, invaluable time, and immense emotional fortitude fighting against something that was actually meant to be received, embraced, and worn as a divine adornment. You might be struggling with all your might to shake off a burden that is, in truth, the very mantle of your next assignment, a weight designed by heaven to lift you, not to pin you down. The heaviness you feel may not be entirely an attack. Some of it is the weight of what God is placing on you for the next season. Some of what you have been interpreting as a burden is actually a mantle, and mantles are heavy. Elijah's mantle was heavy. It was physical. It carried authority, weight, power. And when it was transferred to Elisha, that young prophet felt the fullness of what was being placed on him. He tore his own garments. He left his old life completely. He did not go back. Because you cannot carry a mantle and remain who you were before it landed on you. So, allow for the profound possibility, let it settle within your spirit, that the deep heaviness you've been carrying, this pervasive sense of weight on your shoulders and within your soul, may not be solely or even primarily an attack from the enemy, nor a sign of your own spiritual failings. A significant portion of it could very well be the sacred gravitas, the divine density of what God is strategically positioning upon you for your next season of divine assignment and breakthrough. What you have painstakingly interpreted as a crushing burden, a weight meant to hinder and deplete you, might in fact be a mantle, a garment of divine authority, a cloak of prophetic purpose, a symbol of supernatural empowerment and spiritual inheritance. And make no mistake, mantles are inherently heavy. They are not light, gossamer threads of fleeting inspiration or ephemeral spiritual experiences. They are substantial, imbued with the very essence of the divine assignment they represent, weighty with the presence and power of God Himself. Consider Elijah's mantle. It wasn't merely a piece of fabric, a sheepskin garment. It was a physical manifestation of his prophetic office, laden with the tangible weight of God's authority, the power to part waters, to call fire from heaven, to speak truth to kings, and to shape the spiritual landscape of a nation. When that mantle fell from Elijah and was picked up by Elisha, it wasn't a casual inheritance or a light transition. That young prophet felt the immediate, undeniable fullness of what was being divinely placed upon him, a seismic shift in his entire being. It was so utterly transformative, so profoundly consuming, that his very first act was to tear his own garments, a powerful symbolic and literal severing from his old identity, his previous life as a farmer, his past aspirations. He left his oxen, his fields, his familiar existence completely and irrevocably behind him. He did not, could not, go back. This is the immutable truth about mantles. You cannot authentically carry the weight and authority of a divine mantle and simultaneously remain the same person you were before it landed upon you. The very nature of a true mantle demands a profound metamorphosis, a shedding of the old self, and a full embodiment of the new, empowered, and divinely oriented identity. It reshapes your perspective, redefines your purpose, and fundamentally reorients your entire being towards the divine assignment it signifies. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next is the part that breaks the cycle, and it requires you to be willing to hear something that may contradict what you have been taught. The most dangerous lie in the life of a chosen person is not that they are unworthy. The most dangerous lie is that they are ordinary, because an ordinary person does not need to wrestle. An ordinary person does not attract the kind of opposition you have been facing. An ordinary life does not require this level of spiritual restructuring. The enemy does not deploy his heaviest assignments against people who pose no threat. He does not orchestrate this kind of sustained assault against someone whose destiny is small. Now, lean in closely and allow this profound truth to pierce through any preconceived notions, because what I'm about to unveil is a revelation designed to shatter cycles of self-doubt and usher in a completely new paradigm for your understanding. This insight may very well challenge long-held beliefs, perhaps even contradicting spiritual narratives you've absorbed throughout your life. For a person chosen by God, destined for a unique, impactful purpose, the most insidious, crippling lie is not the accusation of unworthiness. The enemy often whispers that you are not good enough, not strong enough, not holy enough, and while those lies certainly chip away at your confidence and peace, they rarely fully derail a truly called soul. The truly dangerous lie, the one that can quietly suffocate destiny, is the subtle, pervasive suggestion that you are merely ordinary. Think about this with piercing clarity. An ordinary person, one whose life aligns with conventional expectations and mundane aspirations, does not experience the intense, soul-rattling wrestling matches with the divine or the demonic that you have. An ordinary person does not attract the precise, targeted, and often relentless opposition that has seemingly dogged your every step, the kind of spiritual warfare that feels deeply personal, strategic, and often overwhelming. An ordinary life does not necessitate this profound, often painful, and utterly transformative level of spiritual restructuring. The shaking of foundations, the breaking down of old paradigms, the shedding of former identities that you have undoubtedly undergone. The enemy, a master strategist of darkness, does not waste his most potent ammunition, his heaviest assignments, or his most cunning deceptions on individuals who pose no significant threat to his kingdom. He does not orchestrate this kind of sustained, multifaceted assault, this barrage of delays, betrayals, and misunderstandings against someone whose divine destiny is small, insignificant, or easily contained. No, the very scale, the intensity, the duration of the battles you have faced, the trials you have endured, and the profound exhaustion that has accompanied them are direct, undeniable reflections of the colossal nature of the calling upon your life. The scale of what you have endured is a map of the territory you are being trusted to occupy. And that truth, if you let it fully land, reframes everything, every betrayal, every delay, every moment of confusion, every season where you felt invisible, overlooked, misunderstood. It was not random, it was not punishment, it was preparation at a level so precise and so intentional that only a God who sees the end from the beginning could have designed it. Let this truth, this divine perspective, settle deep into the marrow of your being, allowing it to irrevocably reorient your entire understanding of your past and present circumstances. The precise scale of what you have endured, the depth of the valleys you've traversed, the height of the mountains you've climbed, the length of the wilderness seasons you've navigated, is not a random collection of unfortunate events. It is, in fact, a divinely inscribed map, meticulously charting the vastness and profound significance of the spiritual territory you are being specifically trusted to occupy. This understanding, if truly embraced and allowed to permeate every cell of your consciousness, will radically reframe every single experience that has shaped you into the person you are becoming. Every piercing betrayal you've suffered, every agonizing delay that tested the very limits of your patience, every bewildering moment of confusion that clouded your vision and challenged your faith, every long season where you felt utterly invisible, profoundly overlooked, or deeply misunderstood. None of it was arbitrary. None of it was a cruel twist of fate, a stroke of bad luck, or a cosmic punishment for some perceived failing. Instead, each challenging juncture, each period of profound difficulty, was a meticulously crafted component of a preparation process so precise, so intentional, and so intricately designed that it could only have originated from the mind of a sovereign God who perceives the end from the very beginning. He orchestrates every detail, every tear, every triumph, with a purpose far grander and more intricate than your immediate perception can grasp. This profound preparation wasn't meant to break you, but to forge you into an instrument of His will, not to diminish you, but to exponentially expand your capacity for His glory, not to punish you, but to exquisitely equip you for the weight of glory and the vastness of the territory He is leading you to claim. It means your suffering has been divinely repurposed into your spiritual strength, your trials into your powerful testimony, and your wilderness into a sacred proving ground for your prophetic destiny. But here is the part you probably did not expect, and this is the layer that changes everything. The thing that has been blocking your full entrance into what God promised is not the enemy. It is not your past. It is not even your doubt. It is your familiarity with waiting. You have been in the preparation season so long that waiting has become your identity. You have learned how to survive delay so well that part of you has stopped expecting arrival. You have made peace with the wilderness in a way that was never meant to be permanent. And unconsciously, you have started to define yourself by what you are still believing for rather than by what has already been released. Now, prepare yourself for a revelation that most likely runs counter to every assumption you've held, an insight that will illuminate a previously unseen blockage, a subtle but formidable barrier. This is the profound layer that, once truly understood, possesses the power to fundamentally alter your spiritual posture and exponentially accelerate your breakthrough. The primary impediment that has been subtly, yet powerfully, obstructing your full, unhindered entrance into the magnificent promises God has spoken over your life is not the overt attacks of the enemy. It is not the lingering shadows of your past mistakes, traumas, or perceived failures. It is not even the natural human tendency towards doubt or unbelief, though these can certainly play a significant role. No, the most tenacious, deeply ingrained block has been your own profound familiarity with waiting. You have traversed the landscape of preparation, the crucible of refinement, for such an extended period that the very act and state of waiting has, over time, subtly solidified into a core aspect of your identity. You have become an unwitting expert in the art of enduring delay, a master of navigating the wilderness seasons of prolonged expectation. You've honed your survival skills in limbo so effectively that a quiet, almost imperceptible part of your being has ceased to genuinely expect the moment of arrival, the full manifestation. You have, perhaps without fully realizing it, unconsciously made a deep, albeit temporary, peace with the wilderness, a temporary dwelling place that was never designed by God to become your permanent home. This extended sojourn has inadvertently led you to define yourself, not by the immutable truths of what heaven has already released and declared over you, but by the ongoing process of what you are still believing for. You've begun to wear the heavy garments of the journey rather than the light celebratory robes of the destination. This ingrained mindset, born of prolonged endurance, now acts as a subtle but powerful anchor, holding you in a posture of expectation for more waiting, rather than for the immediate manifestation of what has already been divinely decreed. It's like standing at the finish line, still running the race in your mind, unable to fully cross over into the victory that irrevocably awaits you. Heaven released it. The verdict is already written, but you are standing at the threshold with a door open and your body still positioned to wait rather than walk through. Let the weight of this truth sink in. Let it resonate within your deepest being. Heaven has already released it. The divine decree has been issued. The cosmic verdict is already irrevocably written in the annals of eternity. The promise is not pending, it is present. It has been spoken, sealed, and set in motion. But you, in this critical, opportune moment, are standing at the very threshold of its tangible manifestation. A magnificent door already swung wide open before you, revealing the glorious vista of your breakthrough. And yet, almost unconsciously, your body, your very spiritual posture, remains positioned in the familiar stance of waiting, rather than confidently and decisively stepping through into the tangible reality of what has already been granted. This isn't just a physical stance as much as it is an energetic, vibrational alignment, a lingering expectation of delay that keeps you tethered to the past season, even as the vibrant future beckons you forward with irresistible force. This is the shift. Not more waiting, not more striving, not more proving. The shift is the decision, right now, in this moment, to stop identifying with the delay and start moving as someone who has received the promise. To let your body, your posture, your words, and your expectations come into alignment with what your spirit already knows is true. This, then, is the pivot point, the profound seismic shift that will reorient your entire trajectory. It is not found in a renewed commitment to more waiting, more arduous striving, or more desperate proving of your worth. No, the true transformative shift is a conscious, deliberate, and powerful decision, made unequivocally right now, in this very sacred moment, to utterly cease identifying with the season of delay, with the role of the one who is perpetually anticipating. Instead, it is the radical, faith-filled choice to begin moving, speaking, and living as someone who has already received the promise, whose inheritance has already been granted, whose destiny is now actively unfolding. This involves a profound, holistic alignment, allowing your physical body to reflect a new posture of confident reception and empowered action, letting your verbal expressions articulate affirmations of present possession and gratitude, and recalibrating your deepest expectations to resonate with the undeniable truth that your spirit already knows and bears witness to. It's about letting the inner conviction manifest outwardly, signaling to the universe, to the spiritual realm, and to your own subconscious that the waiting is definitively over and the time for full embodiment has arrived. It's stepping into the vibrational frequency of fulfilled prophecy, not merely hoping for it, but actively living within its reality. Daniel was praying, and within the first day, an angel had been dispatched with the answer. But the answer was delayed for 21 days by spiritual opposition in the heavenly realm. Daniel did not stop praying. He did not interpret the silence as rejection. He held his position in faith until the answer broke through. And when the angel finally arrived, he said, "From the first day you set your heart to understand and humbled yourself before God, your words were heard." Recall the powerful account of Daniel, a man of profound prayer and unwavering devotion, whose life was a testament to persistent faith. From the very first day he set his heart to seek understanding and humbled himself before God. An answer was not only conceived in heaven, but an angel, a divine messenger, was immediately dispatched with that answer. Daniel 10:12. This wasn't a slow, contemplative process. It was an instant, sovereign, divine response, a swift echo from the throne room. Yet that answer was subsequently delayed for 21 arduous days, not by God's reluctance or an oversight, but by intense spiritual opposition in the heavenly realm, a cosmic battle waged against the manifestation of God's will on earth, an unseen war against the very breakthrough meant for Daniel. What is absolutely crucial in Daniel's story and profoundly relevant for you is his response to this prolonged, perplexing silence. He did not succumb to despair. He did not abandon his post of prayer. He did not cease his fervent prayers, nor did he interpret the absence of immediate manifestation as rejection, abandonment, or a sign that his prayers were not heard by God. He understood, implicitly or explicitly, that his words had indeed been heard, and he adamantly refused to concede victory to the unseen forces of delay. He held his position with steadfast faith, continuing to press in, to stand firm, until the heavenly breakthrough finally manifested, shattering the spiritual resistance. And when the angel Gabriel finally arrived, he delivered a profound, reassuring revelation, echoing God's timeless assurance. Do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. Daniel 10:12. This means that from the very moment you articulated your deepest desires, your heartfelt prayers, your fears, and your petitions to God, your words resonated in the throne room of heaven. They were heard, and the answer was set in motion. The manifestation has not been denied. It has been fighting its way through layers of spiritual resistance, navigating the unseen battles in the spiritual atmosphere, and it is, I declare with conviction, arriving now. The time of breakthrough is definitively upon you. Place your hand on your heart and declare this with me. I release the identity of waiting. I release the weight of every season that taught me to expect delay. I release the lie that my exhaustion is evidence of abandonment. I declare that my body is being reconstructed, not destroyed. I declare that the heaviness I have carried is not punishment, it is preparation, and the preparation is complete. I receive the strength that comes from surrender. I receive the blessing that comes from the wrestling. I receive the mantle that heaven has already placed on my life, and I step forward, not striving, not performing, not proving, but walking in the full authority of who God said I am before the foundations of the earth were laid. The shift is not coming, the shift is here, and I am ready. If this message reached you today, do not let it pass without action. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a word in the comments, even if it is just yes or I receive it, because what you speak in agreement with, you invite into your life. And if you want to go deeper into the divine patterns behind your calling, the link is waiting for you in the first pinned comment. But do not wait. This moment is too significant to let pass without a response.